The title of this video is a bit harsh, isn't it? Yeah, I am sure that it is not you in particular. I'm convinced that you're a lovely person. But a lack of knowledge isn't exactly helping either. This is a completely wrong place to start this though. I am autistic, and I'm not suffering because I'm disabled. I'm suffering because of how society treats me. And in fact, it has led me to become depressed, and in my darkest hours, even suicidal. Let me elaborate. I am expected to live the way a non-disabled, non-autistic person is. But I'm simply not capable of that, because I am disabled. I am autistic. You wouldn't tell a wheelchair-bound person to just live like someone who isn't in a wheelchair, would you? So why are you doing that to us? Where I live in Germany, I can't get disability pay or special conditions for working, as I am really only capable of working in a certain set of fields, let's say, and not your average amount of hours that everybody else is working, because I have a handicap. I am simply not physically capable of doing so. I cannot, hard can't. My body will make me stop at some point, and I can get into what exactly would happen in my particular case. It is a bit different for everybody, but I don't want to drag this particular video out too much. So yeah, if you're interested. Point is, I cannot live this society's idea of an ideal life, or even just a life, but I don't really have another option. So yeah, I am basically expected to break myself physically and mentally just because. And I can tell you a big part of this problem. When I was 16, before I was formally diagnosed, which you may be thinking, 16? That seems a bit late. Yeah, it is late, but that is how it is for most of us who are born in a female body. Anyways, shortly before I was diagnosed, I was at more or less a emergency psychologist, and I told her that I was suspecting that I may be autistic. And she looked me in the face and told me, "You don't look autistic, so you're not." And that was that for her. So after this session, I instantly transferred to somebody else. And after a months-long in-depth evaluation, I was diagnosed. Surprise, I am autistic after all, even though I don't look it, apparently. The fact that I don't look autistic is probably one of the worst parts, because I am treated as though I don't have a disability. They don't see it. I am not sitting in a wheelchair or have crutches. I have nothing physically wrong with me, so that must mean I am normal to their standards, which I am not. And well, not looking autistic is a facade. That is not really me. A very, very draining facade at that. And one I have been forced to create by this society. Just because I can fake the eye contact and can fake socially acceptable behavior, it doesn't mean it's easy or comes naturally for me at all. It is a lot of work. All of us who are considered high functioning, which I will be talking about why these terms are complete bullshit in a later video, come home completely exhausted and tired. The amount of people I have seen or heard say that once they come home after work or school, just lie on their bed or on their back somewhere in their room and stare up at the ceiling for some amount of time is insane. Your normal day shouldn't put so much strain on you that you have to do this. And I do that myself as well. The facade doesn't make me well adjusted all of a sudden. I am still in sensory overload most of the time. I am still having anxiety attacks. I am still not doing well. I'm just hiding it because that's what most people want me to do. When I am with my friends, I am completely different. You would not recognize me. I don't have to make a conscious effort to make eye contact. I don't have to carefully pick and choose the words I use to express myself in case I cause a, oh my god, social mishap in my word choice, or I can even go completely non-verbal if I want to. I can also ask them to be a bit quieter if I need to, and they will oblige because they care about me. I can also stim, meaning I can act on certain little habits that I have, like twisting my hair or bouncing my leg for me, or rocking from side to side, or squishing things like my little he for me or my Jew. And I am not chastised for doing these things as I would be in an open public space. It's different for everybody, and that wasn't all of my stims anyway. All in all, I don't have to fear repercussions for just being me, for just being happy, I am allowed to be happy with them. I am accepted, I am loved, and whenever I try to apologize, which I have been trained to do for an autistic trait of mine, they just basically go, "Are stupid, why are you apologizing?" And yeah, I don't have to be afraid, which is amazing. I can't express my gratitude and love for these people enough, but I'm tearing up. In fact, in a lot of ways, I feel that autism is a gift for me. When I am happy, it's more intense. In general, I just feel emotions more intensely. I love with my entire heart, every single fiber of my being. I feel like I'm exploding when I love someone or something. I can get extremely lost and happy in the things that I enjoy, a lot more so than your average non-autistic person. Just because I'm interested in something, I can use hours upon hours to stay focused and teach myself a skill. And I pick up skills a lot more easily, I have been told. I have my personal little happy space that I can enter when completely relaxed, and it is an absolute blessing. Also, I am rarely ever bored. On top of everything, I have extremely high levels of empathy. Yes, you've heard that correctly. I love everything that this has given me, and it has not taken away a single thing that I would need to be happy. I have everything. I am extremely happy with who I am and my values, and also that I am able to completely be myself, because social standards and beauty standards, I just don't understand them. I also don't understand why I should hide my body. So that gives me entirely new options of expressing myself and being myself, because I am not confined to others' ideas. And that is, I hope that we can get to a point where everybody feels this way. Not confined to others' ideas, I mean. What is taking something from me, however, is society, and a great majority of the people around me who don't want to make the slightest of attempts to maybe understand me. And whenever I say me, by the way, I also mean other autistic people. I wouldn't just talk about this if it was just me. Earlier I mentioned the bullshit term high functioning. Well, its counterpart is low functioning. The only real difference between these two terms is that low functioning entails a lack of an ability to pretend that you are not autistic. That is it. None of us are more or less autistic, it is just this skill. Imagine what non-verbal autistic people, those who cannot fake eye contact, those who are actually completely overwhelmed by the world around them, are being put through. If it's caused me to be depressed, I don't want to think about what they are being put through by so-called professionals and people who try to imprint their values upon them, sometimes even their parents who just don't know any better. Or at least most of them. I hope that a fair amount of them are lucky enough to not have that happen to them. Here's the thing, as I said, whenever I don't have to put up that facade, I am happy. I am very happy with being me. Just because you don't understand a way of living or a way of being happy does not make it wrong all of a sudden. Has anybody ever asked us what we need, how we would be able to live a happy and fulfilling life? What sort of support we'd require? No! It's all just set up so that we are, what, less of a burden? So that nobody has to adjust to us? If your kid is happy being non-verbal, what is wrong with that? If they're happy, isn't that what matters? Just because they can't say I love you does not mean they don't. Forcing them into things that makes them uncomfortable and unhappy just because you want a normal child is plain cruel. Why hasn't the standard of working with autistic kids and adults, we exist too, become working with their strengths years ago instead of pressing them into a mold that society has created? All of us have certain strengths. We just need to be able and need help to discover them. And then we can work with them and craft our ways of how we can live, our individual ways in life as everybody should be able to. Also, verbal language is not the only valid way of communication. You know these displays of autistic kids in popular media where they're miserable and screaming? They were made that way. They weren't born that way. They have a chance and an opportunity just like every single one of us to be happy. They're just not given it. It may be hard to completely let go of everything you believe to be the only way, and that is why most nobody chooses to actually try and understand us. We need support. What we don't need is being told that we are wrong, that we are making the lives of those around us oh so miserable just because we were born differently, just because we're disabled. We have no control over that. We are already doing our best, believe me. We need activism, and there is virtually none. As someone who is verbal, I feel obliged to use that skill to speak up for those of us who can't, for all of us. We're all the same. We're the same as you. We deserve to be heard and we deserve to be happy. We deserve human rights. All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. They are endowed with reason and conscience and should act towards one another in a spirit of brotherhood. Article 1 of the Declaration of Human Rights. Why are we denied that?